We are back with another episode of Horse Sense. As always, I'm Bailey Armour, joined by my wonderful co-host, Scott Shapiro, as we cover all things racing, especially here in Kentucky. And of course, with the Keeneland meet still going on, our focus all on Keeneland. This Saturday's card is highlighted by the Grade 2 Raven 1 and the Grade 3 Perryville, which, as I was going through the card, really liked one of these races a little bit better than the other. And we'll get into that as we go through the card here and discuss some of these big stakes races. I know that, Scott, you found some spots that you like in these pair of stakes races as well. What do you think?
Yeah, no, these races are always fun. They're kind of the aftermath of the Breeders' Cup prep races. Obviously, the Breeders' Cup in just 2 weeks. These horses won't be running out at Del Mar, you wouldn't suspect. But these are really fun races, both for 3-year-olds, one for the ladies, one for the boys, both at 7 furlongs. And I know that you preferred the Perryville in terms of, we're not talking about necessarily each horse, but just a more fun race to talk about and to analyze and break down a little bit. And that's why we're going to start with it. Plus, it's race 7, which does kick off the late pick 4, which we have our ongoing promotion at Express Bet and First Bet. Hit it, split it, 1 million rewards points every day. And there's some pretty cool stuff in the shop in addition to the wagering vouchers that you can get for those points earned. And in this race, there's 3 horses, I think, that are going to take a huge share of the money. That's what Nick Tamero, the odds makers morning line, suggests as well. The 5 Bookham Dano, the Jersey bred 2-1. Knightsbridge, undefeated, 2 for 2, but hasn't raced since late March at 3-1. And then Locke, last year's Breeders' Cup juvenile favorite, lost to his stablemate Fierceness, but we haven't seen him since, Bailey. But fun race, maybe some outsiders that can hit the board or maybe even make big time hay. But who did you like most?
Mike some big time hay. Well, I've got a shorter priced horse picked out and a longer priced horse picked out in this race. And for me, it will kind of depend on how the windows go. This is a field of 12. And I would say they're all pretty talented horses. Obviously, some more so than others, but you've got 12 to start the gate, and you've got 2 on the AE list. That includes 2 horses that have run in the Kentucky Derby this year. This is champion 2-year-olds, like you said, Locked. You've got Knightsbridge. You've got Bookham Dano. This is probably the race that I've been most excited for about this entire Keeneland meet. So I'm really excited to see how this one shakes out. Starting with the number 3 Knightsbridge, standout horse that I really, really, really liked back in March when he scored his that victory down in a mile at Gulfstream with Junior Alvarado, has won both of his lifetime starts, which it's only 2. And if he was, much younger then, it's October, that was March. Whatever, horses mature differently. Won both of those starts by almost a combined 20 lengths. Was sidelined on the Derby Trail for bone bruising after that win at Gulfstream on March the 28th. If that's what he can do with some bone bruising, what can he do now coming off of this really long, almost 200-day layoff? And taking a look at the stats, 71% of Keeneland races comparable to this so far this meet have been won by horses 5 or 1 or less on the morning line, and the rail is been really hot for speed. As we know, early speed has been dominating this Keeneland dirt surface so far. So that's my short price
Like
pick.
chalk. So you like chalk. That's what you're saying.
Hey, if it works for
chalk. Keeneland's
it's been
really
all chalk. It's been so chalky. If it works for gymnasts, it works for me. So I would not shy away from that, depending on how
the favorite,
short
though.
He was.
He's probably not going to be the favorite. So
he won't be the favorite. Bookham Dano will probably go off as the favorite. Javier Castellano won the Allen Jerkins at the Spa on August 24th, but he ran behind Domestic Product and Prince of Monaco, 2 horses that are going to the Breeders' Cup, and he's not. Deserving favorite, I would try to beat him with Knightsbridge when it comes to the shorter priced horses in this field.
Yeah, I like him more than you then. I think you've got a couple of horses that have a lot of talent, but clearly have issues that we need to kind of see that they're back from. Now, Knightsbridge has had issues multiple times, clearly, and, obviously, it's hard to knock a horse that's lost by 19 or won by 19 lengths in 2 starts, and did so the last time when the race you referenced at 1-9 down at Gulfstream on the 1-turn mile. But now he moves into some serious competition. I don't think he can beat much in those races. And Bill Mott is Hall of Fame conditioner, 0 for 11 at the meet. He's cold over the last 30 days, 4 for 62. So I'm a little bit leery about this one needing the race against such high quality competition. The same could be said for Locked. This is a 7 furlong race. his 3 wins are at further distances than that. And we haven't seen him in a while. So maybe this is a setup for a bigger race as well. I just think Bookham Dano, this is what he loves to do. He loves to sprint, 7 furlongs, 3 awesome races in a row. He did finish third to domestic product at Saratoga in the Grade 1 Jerkins, but the Woody Stevens effort, one of the better races on that Saratoga undercard, Belmont undercard at Saratoga, was really impressive. And I just think he's faster than these. I think even those 2 really highly regarded horses, Knightsbridge and Lock, are going to have to run career bets to beat him, and that's a tough task off the layoff.
Yeah, you mentioned Locked and some of these horses that have been sidelined with injuries. So I'm doing my research. He had a ligament injury in his left knee that caused him to scratch the morning of the Fountain of Youth and miss the Kentucky Derby. Finished his last win, and of course our editor
Wasn't he on the track and won that race? Or no, that was the other Pletcher horse.
That was the other Pletcher horse.
That horse that had the maiden win in that big maiden race. Yeah,
Yeah, Jeremy Plunk, our editor-in-chief, was really keen on this horse last year. I remember him telling him that he was going to be great, and he definitely knows how to spot him. So I won't say that he's wrong. I mean, the last time we saw him was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile when he finished behind Booth and Fierceness. So to bring him back into this spot after such a long layoff, I mean, I know they had him in training over the winter and into the spring, but then has been sidelined since then. So maybe a surgery. Rest.
It just feels like a starting spot to me, though, because he was a 2-turn horse last year. I can't imagine they're going to turn him into a sprinter this year. Maybe he's just that good. I just think Bookham Dano is legitimate. I know he's a Jersey bred for a little bit of a lower profile barn, but I'm not going to let that hold it against him. But not like he's a big price here. So not overly excited there. I'll just mention 2 other prices that I think can get in there maybe, because I am kind of sort of knocking the horses that are coming off layoffs. So maybe even underneath could find some value, even though I know Knightsbridge and Lock can beat me. I do think Henro as well as Dilger coming out of the Harrods Creek are a little interesting. Henro won that race, but I thought Dilger, who's 20-1 in this race and was 3 wide and part of the battle in the early going, while Henro was able to sit back, has a big shot to run a pretty big race here. Only 1 win in his career, but I wouldn't be surprised with the hot riding Tyler Gaffalione if he found his way into the money.
Now, the only other long shot that I had my eye on, shockingly, not one of those 2, is the 6 Good Looking Justice. Really strong early pace horse shipping in from Indiana for the Aaron West barn, and gets his regular rider Samuel Bermudez, who has been like a meat leader at Indiana Grand so far this year and has been doing really well. Never out of the place money in 5 lifetime starts. 9 lifetime starts, 5, 4, and 0 out of 9, which is incredible. And their work pattern, when I was looking at his training schedule, they keep him in training out of Indiana. They work him a bullet once a month and then basically just cruise the rest of the works, which 2 works back, he worked a really, really sharp work. And then last Saturday on October 12th, he worked 5 furlongs and 105, which is practically walking. I think I could probably go out and work 5 furlongs and 105 myself right now. It's so slow. So really saving him for this trip. And they knew they had to ship. They knew what kind of competition they were up against, and they still shipped it anyway when there could have maybe been an easier spot in Indiana. So the 6 post, you know me, my lucky number. Take that as you will. I like him at a longer price. I mean, he'll be double digits with the way the rest of this field shapes out.
Oh, he's going to be a huge price. He's an Indiana bred.
I know.
Yeah. So big price there. Let's move to the other race that you introduced, the Grade 2 Raven Run Stakes, 3-year-old fillies. They got a big field here. It's 10 horses, but I think, or 10 fillies, but I think a little bit less exciting to break down. You've got number 5 Emery, who won the victory ride. That was her career best effort, and then just finished second to the big favorite and impressive winner of the test, Ways and Means. Didn't really lose much in defeat there, but she's going to be a short price. I think you can maybe poke holes in her if you want, but I just don't have a lot of excitement for anybody in here. Maybe you can change my mind.
If you really try to poke holes in the 5 Emery, I think you could. She's 7-5. Brad Cox and Tyler Gaffalione, who has been off from Keeneland for a couple of days, but is back riding in these big stakes races this weekend. Like you said, odds-on favorite in 5 of her 6 lifetime starts, sits right behind them and closes, and was second left out to Ways and Means, who heads into the Breeders' Cup Billion and Mare Sprint. Easily the most talented horse in the field. I mean, you've got Vivi's Dream in here as well. So at 8 or something to 1, definitely one to look out for. But I don't see how you can really beat Emery with any in this field. though the number 4 Twirling Queen, I can't get that out. It's too many letters in the same name. One inside, not a ton of early speed, stretches out from sprinting 5.5 to sprinting 7 furlongs, which is barely a sprint in my opinion. As the resident big fan of turf sprints, 7 furlongs is barely a sprint.
Elongated sprints.
Yeah, elongated sprint. It's a furlong short of a mile. Come on, and that's a route. So it's kind of a gray area, but whatever. Still in the sprint class. She comes into this race off a 4-race win streak. Those were all listed races, and this is a grade 2. You know, I think the Perryville is a better field than this one, and that's a grade 3, and this is a grade 2, whatever. Pretty short and sharp works in the mornings, has beaten horses who won her place last out. So she's running against talented horses. What I thought was interesting was they tried to run her in 2 turf sprints at Kentucky Downs, but got caught in the AE web and couldn't get into 2 separate races over the Kentucky Downs meet. And then now they're putting her back on dirt after she had some success on turf in her new barn. So
you'd like her more if it was on turf?
Yeah, I'd like her more if it was on turf, but it's not.
It's not, and it's a further distance. Well, the one thing I think that she has in her favor that most of these fillies do not is early speed. You know, this is a race where you would normally see a number of horses that you would expect to want to be on the lead or at least close to it. But you look around this field and there's not a lot of them. And then you got Emery coming off a 2.5-month break, maybe will be a little fresh. Then you have Twirling Queen, though, who, you know, is used to going further, has tactical speed. I think she might make the lead in here. And then you have Minx Palace, who I found a little bit intriguing at a price for that reason. But that's another reason why Emery looks tough to beat. I just think she's going to get the run of the race, whether that means she goes to the front, just being the best filly with an aggressive rider like Tyler, or she sits off a filly like Twirling Queen. I'm against My Main Squeeze and Vivi's Dream. My Main Squeeze, I think, tremendous resume for a New Yorker, came in, won the 8 Bells, also won the Dogwood, I think a little better over an off track and needs pace to run at. And then also Vivi's Dream, I just think we've seen the best of her. I talk about it a lot. 2-year-olds that mature early, you know, you got to be careful when they start going down the class ladder or, you know, their numbers start declining. They very, very, very rarely figure, you know, turn it around unless something changes. You know, it happens, but I'm willing to try to beat horses like that. And it's been successful with her. So to me, it's Emery and a non-creative thought with Minx Palace, and Mayuchia would be the other one for me along the inside.
That's a hard word to pronounce. I'm glad that you got that out the first time because I couldn't get Twirling Queen out today. So, you know.
All right.
Well, good stuff. Always good thoughts from you, Scott. Appreciate your time as always. A lot of good puzzling horses this weekend. So I'm really excited to see how the Perryville shakes out. Might even take a trip over there and watch the race right from the rail.
Good for you. The perfect Saturday to go. A little bit like after the, you know, the big Breeders' Cup preview day when it's packed in there, you know, and then now it'll still be an awesome crowd. I'm sure I think it's supposed to be nice, right? So you should do it.
And finally cool outside here in Kentucky. It's not sweltering anymore. So, but now I'm freezing it on my sweatshirt, so it's fine.
All right. Well, Team Hoodie, let's go.
That's right, Team Hoodie. Well, you can follow along with all of our picks and blogs and news and information and everything about Keeneland this weekend right on our social channels. Mine is @_BetBailey. Shaft the Cap, of course, over there with his legendary cap. And make sure you check out the Express Bet and First Bet Twitter feeds to see what else you might be missing. Any tips for that late pick 4 sequence every single day at the Keeneland meet where you could win your share of 1 million rewards points. Never know. Good luck.